Between feature updates, hidden tips and tricks, and entire programs you've almost certainly never even heard of, Google has all kinds of hidden useful features for teachers. Now, I knew I was gonna need a Google expert to help me make this video. So I invited John Sowash, author of the Chromebook Classroom and also host of his own YouTube channel, to come on and share his very best tips and tricks. This tip John's about to share with you actually blew my mind when he first shared it with me.
Hi friends, great to be here on the new EdTech Classroom YouTube channel. My name is John Sowash and I want to show you my favorite new feature of Google Docs. All you have to do to access this new feature is type the @ symbol. This is a brand new menu that gives you quick access to your favorite editing elements of Google Docs. I want to highlight 3 new features that are also included in this new menu. The first is the ability to tag people. If you want to assign a task to someone or indicate who's in charge of something, you can tag them right within a document. They'll make sure they have access to the document and get a notification that there's something they need to take a look at. The second cool thing you can do, type the @ symbol and start typing the first few letters of a Google Drive file that you own. For example, Sam, Tom, and I created a planning document to plan this video. And I can tag that document from this document. The third feature I want to show you is pretty cool. It's called building blocks. So again, I'm going to type the @ symbol and you'll see the building blocks. Currently there are 2 building blocks available. I expect there'll be more in the future. Essentially, building blocks are templates for action items that you're going to need to use on a regular basis. A very simple example is meeting notes. You have a meeting, you need a spot to take notes and action items. When I click the building block, it prompts me to look at my calendar and say, is this meeting on your calendar? It doesn't have to be, but mine is. I've got a department meeting tomorrow. I click on that department meeting and it's going to automatically build a meeting note section in my document. Now the other building block is brand new, and that is the ability to add an email draft template. You can actually draft the email right here in Google Docs. Other people can look at it, give input, add comments and suggestions to it, and then when you're ready, simply click the Gmail logo off in the left margin, and it will take what you have here, put it into an email, and all you have to do is click the send button and you're ready to go. Speaking of Gmail, let's head over to Tom and learn about a cool Gmail trick.
Roger here is wanting to get a custom image for his Gmail background because he feels it's a little uninspired right now. But he realized when he went over to the gear and went down to settings that these pictures didn't really jive with what really motivates him. Even when he went down to My Photos, it only gave him the option of pulling one of his previous profile photos and some featured uninspired images. So I asked Roger what he had in mind and he shared this image with me. So let's see how we can make this image as Roger's Gmail background. And I'm gonna right click on the image and I'm gonna save the image as, and I can just put that in the downloads folder for now. And now I'm gonna open up a new tab and I'm gonna go to photos.google.com. So Gmail will not pull photos from your Google Drive. It will only pull photos from your photos.google.com account. And you first have to make an album for it to be able to find those photos and pull them. So I'm gonna go over to albums over here on the left. I'm gonna create a new album and I will just call this album Inspiration. And I'm going to add some photos to this album. I can just click and drag the photo into this album. And there it is. I've got this inspiring photo in my inspiration albums. Hop back over to Gmail, refresh the page, click on the gear settings, go down to theme and click on view all, go down to my photos, and now I've got this inspiration folder with my inspiring photo in there. Click select. And so before we're done, there's a few things we can customize about our image and our interface. The first is if you want a light or a dark text background, you can kind of see here at the top where it says no new mail. Right now it's light. If I change it to dark, it looks like that, so you can decide which one goes best with your photo. I think I'm gonna go with dark mode right there. You can also add a vignette, which makes the corners a little bit darker. I do like that look as well. And then you can also add a blur to make sure that your photo doesn't compete too much with the text that you're reading. And having a bit of a blur makes the text a little easier to read. So I always add a little blur, and I'm gonna click save. And now Roger has an inspired Gmail background. And so that is not a very fast process of getting the image that you want as your Gmail background, but there's a super fast process if you'd like to digitize any paper assignments that your students may have.
Simplicity is a key factor when you're using technology with students, which is why I love this next hidden trick. I'm in a Google slide presentation right now. This happens to be a journal template. I'm gonna go to the Insert menu, down to Image, and that's where you'll see the ability to add a photo from your webcam. This is a wonderful trick for any class that has a physical object that you want to quickly digitize. Artwork for an elementary classroom, math homework for math. Once you've got your image into Google Slides, you can do some simple editing to it. You can double click to crop it. You can right click and go to Format Options to add drop shadow and adjust the contrast. It's a really great feature. Not only does this work in Google Slides, it also does the exact same thing in Google Docs and in Google Drawing. This would be a great way, for example, for a student to snap a photo of the cover of the book that they just read so they can attach it right next to their book report.
Speaking of book reports, one of my very favorite Google features is a tool I'm almost certain you've never heard about. It's called Talk to Books, and it's an artificial intelligence powered search engine that works quite differently from a regular Google search. And it searches within over 100,000 published books, so there's quite a bit of data to pull from. And then even the way it works is different from a traditional Google search too. So whereas within Google, you can search for single words or phrases, with Talk to Books, you want to search using a sentence that would be as natural sounding as possible. So for example, whereas Edward might normally search for friendly monsters here on Google, if he's on Talk to Books, he's going to want to use a more natural phrase, like, can a monster ever be friendly? The reason is that Talk to Books uses AI to find responses that would most likely come within the context of the question that you're asking. You can see here that after you enter your search query, it's going to pull up several different passages and then highlight in bold what it believes to be the most accurate answer to your question from lots of different books. And the general consensus doesn't look all that good. Sorry, buddy. Since it works differently from a traditional Google search, Talk to Books can take a little while to get the hang of. Both you and your students could use it to look for books that correspond to a topic that you're researching, or it could be used to find relevant quotations from sources that you pretty much already know are reliable. And it's also just really interesting to see what lots of different books have to say about a question that you ask.
Sam, that was a good find. Talk to Books sounds pretty cool. Sam has a lot of great ideas. Right now I'm on his blog and I would love to read this article, but I don't have time right now. I want to show you a brand new feature for the Chrome browser called Reading List. All you need to do is open the Chrome browser and look up in the top right corner where you should see this funky looking square. This is the reading list. Now it's kind of a variation on bookmarks, but it allows you to quickly save videos, blog posts, and really any website that you want to come back to and look at later. So I don't have time to read this blog post right now. I'm making this video, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to my reading list, and I'll come back to it later. I also saw this cool article by Tom. I'm really interested in his experience teaching middle school remotely, so I'll add that to my reading list. And I'm also doing a little bit of home improvement, and I need to watch this video on insulating an attic. So I'll add that to my reading list as well. Later tonight, when I'm sitting on the couch and want to catch up on things, I'll open up the reading list, take a look at it. When I'm done reading or watching, I can click the check mark and then I'll add it to the completed list. If you don't want it there, you can also just remove it entirely. The reading list is a really cool aspect of Chrome that'll help you access your articles and things you want to read later.
If you would like to learn about 5 more useful Google features for teachers, check out the other video that we did with John over on his channel, where we all share a few more tips to make your life a little bit better. We'll see you over there.